Yes, transformation. And, it's such a big term that it's one of those things that we have to narrow down. And in my model, we narrow things through the dependent, independent, dependable model. And talking about agency and taking matters into our own hands is a matter of transformation. If you transform from a dependent person to an independent person, that's a transformation. And if you transform from an independent person to a dependable person, that's also a transformation.
Quick question.
Yes,
do you
please.
think that these different tiers, do you think the feeling for a person going from one transition to the next, do you think that feeling will be huge?
It is.
Because I would imagine that it would be.
It is. And you've felt it. All of us have felt times when we took matters into our own hands. Even in small spots, you, for instance, set this up today. I'm following your direction. I'm quite obedient. I'm quite coachable. And I'm letting you take matters into your own hands. But I'm actually doing the same thing because I am being intentionally coachable. I am intentionally letting go, but in letting go, I am doing that on purpose. I am being the agent that is submitting or releasing, and I'm allowing you to be the agent who is directing, and it's good for both of us. The idea of being in control of something, being trusted by someone else, is an experience I have every day as an anesthesiologist when my patients let go and they let me take matters into my own hands. I take their entire neurological and physiological structure into my own hands. They give me access to them. And yes, the answer is it feels great.
If someone that you admire and trust lets you step up to control things and for you to take over, and they take a not a back seat, but they let you do your thing, it forces you to step up. That feeling is wonderful, and then you want to hang on to that feeling, and you want to have that every day where they're telling you, you have mastery in this field, it's all yours, run with it. That is just an incredible feeling, and you want to have that as much as possible, and unfortunately, depending on your career, depending on a lot of things, that feeling can be gone so quickly.
That's right. And it brings tears to my eyes to think of this because I actually don't like being the leader. It's not natural for me. And I look up to my wife tremendously because she is a very bold and loving leader, and she takes control of a lot of things in life. She admires me for things that I trust she admires me for. I don't need to hear about them. But it is a matter of wanting to feel capable, wanting to feel like someone else can rely on you. And knowing what a high quality person she is, what a good judge of character she is, and seeing in our life how she makes sure that only the best thoughts and feelings and people are around us reminds me that I have, more than anyone else in her life, met those qualifications. So this conversation about being judged and being willing to be judged insufficient is actually critical, because you can't guarantee that you'll be judged to be acceptable. And it's actually a kind of hubris, arrogance, and entitlement to think that everyone has to accept you for everything you do. And it traps you. It traps me to feel like I can't fail. I'm not allowed to fail. So permission to fail is actually very critical. And the invitation to do anything, including take charge or to follow, is an invitation to step up and to do whatever that role requires. The idea of knowing your place, like so many things, is generally considered to be an insult. You're sick, that's an insult. Get over yourself, that's an insult. You lack integrity, they don't have to be insults. And the invitation to get over yourself or to know your place can actually be very, very grounding. Because if you know your place, whether you're in the position of a dependent person, in the position of an independent person or in the position of a dependable person, at least you know your place. Knowing your social status, your relationship to the people around you, and the processes that you're embedded in is very stabilizing. But when you don't like your place, that's destabilizing. And so my attempt here in just hanging out and having these casual conversations is to still intentionally have, probabilistically, depending on where people are in their lives and what resonates, transformational events simply by having these conversations about challenging topics, like knowing your place, like the role that other people play in telling you your place, which is actually quite valid. I reject the notion that other people have no place in telling you what your value is, because actually it's your value to them that you're interested in.
So there is two things. There is that value that you must carry for yourself, no matter what the externals are, and then there's the very real system of that society creates for us, and we have a choice. Either we go with it and we thrive within that and we accept it as being valid and relevant, or we can say, for different reasons we might shy away from it, we might not be willing to step up, or all sorts of tactical things can take place where you tell yourself that story that you're okay where you are, and some people are okay where they are, even if it's on a lower point, financially and otherwise. But I think by and large, especially the people you're talking to, they want to keep stepping up.
Absolutely.
Not out of greed,
Absolutely.
but just out of personal
Absolutely.
sort of
Out of the human spirit. No matter how bad things are or how good things are, the human spirit wants more. This can be framed as a sickness, but I reject that framing. I mean, we can talk about it, that's okay, but I insist on introducing another framing, which is that the human spirit always wants more, just like science. It's not enough. We want more breakthroughs. Now, to bring it back to the very first point you brought up, the internal or unconditional or independent or free sense of value that every person can manifest is critical. What you described is basically an independent, free, unconditional sense of personal worth on one hand, and the highly conditional, highly controversial, highly contentious, and totally varied, probabilistically distributed value you bring to other people when you perform. Now that word's very important. Performance and acting and ability and agency, these are all connected, and it's important for me to rescue the word performance from the notion that it is fake. When I say I'm part of a high performance team, we're doing cardiac anesthesiology on patients getting, heart transplants and lung transplants. So we are performing, and we are performing to a standard that is set by our own society, the American Society of Anesthesiologists, a variety of other things that are going on with the hospital or the surgical societies, internationally. So this is a social phenomenon that everyone who is part of this team has voluntarily stepped into to make a living performing on behalf of others and subjecting ourselves to the criticism of others, or at least the potential for being called out for not performing at a high enough level given the expectations put on us in our job description. So yeah, we can stop there and loop back over, but to review, I think that it's important to discuss taking matters into our own hands, the challenges associated with success, and the importance of knowing that we're moving through transitions and transformations that are not arbitrary. They're actually like human biology, mapped out in a way that is universal. So I'll stop there.